14 things cabin stewards secretly appreciate you doing on a cruise. Most cruisers have no idea what cabin stewards actually go through. We're talking 10 to 13-hour days, 7 days a week, for contracts that last 6 to 9 months straight. No weekends off. Living in crew quarters the size of your bathroom. And here's the kicker. They're doing all this while managing 15 to 20 cabins and making sure yours feels like a 5-star hotel room. But here's what the cruise lines don't advertise. There are things you can do, simple things, that cabin stewards secretly appreciate more than you'd ever imagine. Some of these will actually get you better service. Others might literally change their entire career trajectory. And the one at the end? It's something so simple, yet most passengers never think to do it. And it means more to your steward than a $100 tip. I've talked to current and former cabin stewards, dug through crew forms, and found the stuff they wish passengers knew, but would never say to your face. Because let's be honest, they're trained to smile and say, "Yes, sir," "Yes, ma'am," no matter what. But behind those polite smiles, there are real people with real opinions about what makes their job bearable versus what makes them want to throw towel animals out the porthole. So whether you're a first-time cruiser or you've got more sea days than a Navy admiral, these 14 things will change how you interact with your cabin steward forever. And trust me, they'll notice. Let's dive in. Number 1, using their actual name instead of housekeeping. This one hits different when you understand the psychology behind it. Your cabin steward introduces themselves on day 1 for a reason. They're not just being polite, they're hoping, praying even, that you'll remember their name and use it. I heard about a steward from the Philippines who worked an entire 8-month contract where only 3 passengers ever called him by his name. 3 out of probably 500 people he served. Everyone else? Hey, housekeeping, or just pointing and grunting. Here's what using their name actually does. It transforms them from invisible service staff into an actual human being in your eyes and theirs. And when you pass them in the hallway and say, "Good morning, Marco," instead of just walking by, you've just made their 12-hour shift a little less soul-crushing. It costs you nothing, takes 0 effort once you learn it, and they remember passengers who do this years later. Years. Number 2, leaving a cash tip early in the cruise, not just at the end. Okay, this is where things get interesting. Most people think you tip at the end of the cruise, right? Here's what cabin stewards know that you don't. Passengers who slip them $20 or $30 on day 1 or 2 get remembered. And I mean really remembered. It's not even about the money though, let's be real. It helps. It's about the signal it sends. You're saying, "I see you, I appreciate you, and I'm not going to be that passenger who makes your life hell for 7 days." One Royal Caribbean steward told me that early tippers almost always get little extras. Extra towels without asking, ice bucket always full, maybe your room gets cleaned first while it's still early and they're not exhausted. But here's the secret part. Cash in hand beats everything else. Those automatic gratuities, they get pooled, divided, redistributed according to formulas that would make your head spin. Cash goes straight to them. And when you're supporting a family back home on cruise ship wages, that matters a lot. Number 3, mentioning them by name in your post-cruise survey. This is the big one that nobody talks about. You know that survey the cruise line sends you after your trip, the one you probably delete or rush through? Your cabin steward's entire career might depend on what you write there. Here's what one crew member revealed. When passengers mention them by name in reviews, they can earn days off, which are like gold on a ship, free internet to call home, cash bonuses, even Employee of the Month nominations. And those nominations, they lead to promotions, better contracts, maybe even a path to management. I'm not talking about writing a novel, just Marco provided excellent service, or our steward Jennifer kept our room spotless. 5 seconds of typing could literally change the trajectory of someone's life. But most passengers, they either skip the survey or write generic stuff like, "Room was clean." Meanwhile, your steward is hoping, praying you'll mention their name, because it's one of the few ways they can prove to management they're doing exceptional work. Number 4, establishing a predictable routine they can work around. Your cabin steward is basically trying to solve a complex puzzle every single day. 20 rooms to clean, each with passengers coming and going at random times, and they've got specific time windows to hit each cabin. Here's what makes their life easier. Butastor predictability. If you always go to breakfast at 8 a.m., they learn that. If you always nap from 2 to 3, they work around it. One steward told me the dream passengers are the ones who say something like, "We're always at breakfast from 8 to 9. Clean whenever you want during that time." The opposite, the passengers who are unpredictable, constantly in and out, never establishing a pattern. The steward knocks, you're there. They come back, you're there again. They're trying to clean while you're trying to relax and everyone's frustrated. So find a routine and stick to it. Number 5, actually using the do not disturb sign correctly, not leaving it up for days. Oh boy, this one's controversial. Here's what most passengers don't know. If your Do Not Disturb sign stays up for more than 24 hours, your steward doesn't just shrug and move on. They're required by company policy to notify security. Why? Because people have medical emergencies, people overdose, people have heart attacks, and cruise lines have been sued for not checking on passengers who died in their cabins while the Do Not Disturb sign was up for days. Dark, but true. So here's what stewards actually appreciate. Use the sign when you're napping, getting frisky with your partner, or getting ready for formal night. Take it down when you leave. Don't be that person who leaves it up for 3 days straight because you don't want your room clean. That's not being low maintenance. That's creating a security issue that your steward has to deal with. Number 6, keeping your cabin reasonably organized. Not spotless, just not a disaster zone. Look, nobody's expecting military-level tidiness here. You're on vacation. But there's a difference between lived in and did a tornado hit this room? Your steward has approximately 15 to 20 minutes to clean your cabin. That's it. When your stuff is everywhere, clothes on every surface, toiletries scattered across the bathroom, shoes creating an obstacle course, they spend half their time just moving your things around to clean under them. One steward told me about a passenger who left dirty underwear on the floor every single day, not in a pile spread out like breadcrumbs. The steward had to pick up someone else's dirty underwear every single day. Don't be that person. Here's the trick. Use the drawers and closets. Put your suitcase under the bed. Keep toiletries in one area of the bathroom. It's not about being neat, it's about being considerate. Takes you 30 seconds, saves them 5 minutes, and those minutes add up when you're cleaning 20 rooms. Number 7, removing your room service tray when you're done. This one's a classic mix-up that drives stewards quietly crazy. You order room service, finish your meal, and leave the tray in your room thinking your steward will grab it. Nope, different department entirely. Room service has their own staff who are supposed to collect those trays. But here's what happens. Passengers leave trays inside, stewards aren't supposed to touch them, room service doesn't know they're there unless you call, and now your steward is stuck working around a tray of half-eaten food that's starting to smell. The move that stewards secretly love? Put the tray outside your door when you're done. That's it. Room service will grab it on their rounds, your cabin doesn't smell like old French fries, and your steward doesn't have to navigate around it or deal with the awkwardness of asking you to move it. Simple fix, huge difference. Number 8, being patient with language barriers and speaking clearly. Your cabin steward probably speaks at least 3 languages. Their native language, whatever the ship's primary crew language is, and English. But English might be their 3rd or 4th language, learned specifically for this job. Now imagine trying to understand different accents, slang, and passengers who mumble or speak super fast while you're exhausted from working 13 hours straight. It's rough. So when a passenger speaks clearly, maybe a little slower, uses simple words, and doesn't get frustrated when they need to repeat something, that's golden. One Indonesian steward told me about a passenger who got angry because he didn't understand her request for those things you put in the thing for the thing. She meant hangers for the closet. But instead of clarifying, she got louder and meaner. Don't be that person. Write it down if needed. Use gestures. Be patient. They're trying their best in their 4th language while you can't even say hello in theirs. Number 9, respecting their boundaries about personal services and rules. Here's something cruise lines definitely don't want you to know. Your cabin steward can get fired for doing you certain favors. And I'm not talking about anything sketchy. I mean things that seem totally innocent to you. One crew member got terminated for accepting a passenger's Wi-Fi password to video call his kids. Another got in trouble for holding on to a passenger's medication in the crew fridge. These seem like nice gestures, right? Wrong. They're contract violations that can end careers. So when your steward politely declines something that seems reasonable, they're not being difficult. They're protecting their job. Don't push it. Don't offer to keep it secret. Don't be offended. They've got families depending on this income, and one passenger complaint or security camera footage could send them home unemployed. Number 10, tipping in cash rather than gifts, unless it's immediately consumable. Passengers love giving gifts to their favorite crew members. It feels personal, thoughtful, right? Here's the reality. Your steward shares a cabin the size of your closet with up to 3 other people. Where exactly are they supposed to put that souvenir? One steward told me about receiving 3 bottles of cologne, 2 watches, and a bunch of keychains in one cruise. Sweet gesture, but he had nowhere to keep them and couldn't use them. What he needed, money to send home to his family. Here's what works. Cash is king, always. If you absolutely want to give a gift, make it something consumable. Chocolate, candy, snacks from home they can't get on the ship. Things they can enjoy immediately or share with their cabin mates. But honestly, that $20 you were going to spend on a gift means way more as $20 cash. It's not impersonal, it's practical. Number 11, not removing automatic gratuities thinking cash is better. This is the big misconception that hurts more than helps. Passengers think, I'll remove the automatic gratuity and tip my steward cash instead. They'll get more that way. Sounds logical, right? It's actually a disaster for them. Here's why. Automatic gratuities don't just go to your cabin steward. They support the entire housekeeping team, including the people washing your towels, cleaning public areas, and maintaining the hallways. When you remove auto gratuities, you're pulling money from that entire support system. Plus, and this is crucial, stewards are often evaluated on how many passengers remove gratuities from their cabins. High removal rate? Management assumes they're doing something wrong. It can affect their contracts, promotions, even whether they get hired back. The pro move? Keep the automatic gratuities and tip cash for exceptional service. That way everyone wins. The support team gets their share, your steward doesn't get flagged by management, and they still get that extra cash appreciation directly. Number 12, asking for evening service instead of morning if you're not an early riser. This is one of those things that seems minor, but makes a huge difference. Most passengers automatically say morning service when asked, thinking that's normal, but if you sleep until 10 a.m., you're creating a problem. Your steward shows up at 8 a.m. to clean, you're still sleeping. They come back at 9, still sleeping. By 10, they're supposed to be halfway through their other cabins, but they're still waiting for you. Now their entire schedule is wrecked. Evening service, especially if you're at dinner by 6 p.m., is actually easier for many stewards. They know exactly when you'll be gone, can clean while you're eating, and don't have to deal with the morning cabin shuffle. Plus, you come back from dinner to a freshly made bed with a towel animal. Win-win. One steward told me their favorite passengers are the ones who say, we're always at dinner from 6 to 8, clean anytime then. Clear window, no guesswork, everyone's happy. Number 13, saying hello in the hallways instead of pretending they're invisible. This sounds so basic it's almost insulting to mention, but you'd be amazed how many passengers treat their cabin steward like furniture. They walk past them in the hallway, eyes straight ahead, like they're passing a ghost. Your steward sees you 5-10 times a day in the hallways. They recognize you. They know your face, your walk, probably even your daily routine. And when you walk past them like they don't exist, it stings. Every single time. The passengers who make eye contact, smile, say good morning or how's your day? Those are the ones stewards will bend over backwards for. It's not about being best friends, it's about basic human acknowledgement. You're both humans sharing a floating city for a week. Act like it. Before we get to the last one, if you've learned something new about how cruise ships really work, hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more videos revealing cruise secrets they don't put in the brochures, and drop cruise for you in the comments if you made it this far. I love hearing from viewers who actually watch the whole thing. Number 14, understanding they're supporting extended families back home. This last one's the most important, and it's something most cruise passengers never even think about. Your cabin steward isn't just working for themselves. They're probably supporting parents, siblings, sometimes entire extended families back home. The average cabin steward from the Philippines or Indonesia might be supporting 5 to 10 people on their cruise ship salary. That tip you give, it might pay for someone's school uniform. That mention in the survey, it might lead to a promotion that helps them build a house for their parents. I talked to one steward who hadn't seen his 2-year-old daughter in 8 months. He works these brutal contracts, lives in a tiny shared cabin, deals with difficult passengers, all to give his family a better life. When you understand that context, every interaction becomes more meaningful. So when you see your cabin steward, remember, they're not just cleaning your room, they're someone's parent, someone's child, someone who left everything behind to serve you with a smile for months on end. The least we can do is treat them with the respect and appreciation they deserve. And here's the thing that really gets me. Most of these things cost you nothing. Using their name, free. Being patient, free. Saying hello, free. Mentioning them in a survey takes 30 seconds. Yet these simple acts can transform their entire cruise experience and sometimes their entire career. Your cabin steward will never tell you any of this directly. They'll smile, say no problem, sir, and clean up whatever mess you leave. But now you know better, and knowing better means you can do better. If you want to know more cruise secrets the industry doesn't advertise, check out this video on screen about things cruise lines banned recently that nobody saw coming. Some of them will genuinely surprise you. Thanks for watching and happy cruising.